Hey everybody, it's Flare31 here. Welcome back to more Pokemon Yellow. In the last video, we explored Cerulean City a bit. We got the Bulbasaur and also went up to Nugget Bridge and battled the Nugget Bridge trainers and ended up getting a Charmander from some guy that was like, I can't raise my Charmander. You should have it. That was basically it. There was a lot of battling, so it kind of took some time, but regardless, we're gonna sell this nugget we got from Nugget Bridge. And in this episode, we're gonna keep making progress in the game, novel concept, but specifically, we were on our way up there to go and see Bill, as Blue told us when we battled him, like right here-ish, in that spot. And so we're gonna go see if we can make it to Bill today. Should be able to do that, but before we do that, I do want to go over the Pokemon that we can catch here on Route 24 on this like little patch of grass on the side right here. So without delay, let's get going. First up, you know, there are 14 grass-type Pokemon in this game, and 9 of them, that's like 2/3, are grass poison type for no goddamn reason. And Oddish is one of them. The entire Oddish line, in fact. I've always thought that Oddish would be a pure grass type, or if we're getting like really crazy, grass ground maybe. But grass poison, like come on man. I know Gen 1 love to have like a lot of like the same typing combinations for no reason, but still. Regardless though, Oddish is very reminiscent of Bulbasaur, even down to like the way that the stat spread is. The only difference really is that Oddish is like slightly worse in like pretty much every stat except for special, and a lot worse in speed. Oddish is a slow Pokemon, so don't be surprised as we move through the evolutions when you see how abysmal its speed is. As a early game Pokemon, it's not too bad, I guess, as like one of your few grass options this early in the game anyway. Its high special of 75 is actually quite nice. Things don't usually have that high of a stat, like as a first stage, especially when there are 3 stages. But that's about all I can say that's in favor of Oddish. Otherwise, Bulbasaur is just better. Now, obviously, if you didn't choose Bulbasaur as your starter, you're kind of SOL on that. And in that respect, would I say that Oddish is worth picking up if you don't have a Bulbasaur? Not really. There are definitely better grass options, and one of them is like in the same grass patch, so personally I would hold off on it unless you're playing Pokemon Red, because if you're playing Pokemon Red, you don't have access to this other grass option that I'm talking about. And in that same vein, this is not available in Pokemon Blue, so you don't even have to worry about it if you're playing that version. So let's go ahead and move on to its evolution at level 21, Gloom. Gloom is kind of like the bog standard middle stage evolution. It just gets like a bump of like plus 10 to every stat or something like that, like 10 to 15 or whatever. The base stat total for being like a mid-game Pokemon, not too bad. It could be better, it could be worse. The only real thing I want to point out here is that level 21 as like the evolution level is quite high for the middle stage, and especially one that's not particularly great like this one is. I was kind of ragging on like Pidgey's level 18. This is level 21. Like other Pokemon that evolve at this level are 2 stages and they're just done. That's like their fully evolved form. It's kind of interesting, I guess. Maybe you can say that they get away with it because it's a stone evolution, but I don't know. It's just something that I wanted to point out. Now, speaking of stone evolution, we do have a new evolution method in the sense that it's a different stone that we haven't seen before. The Leaf Stone, which we use to evolve Gloom into Vileplume. Vileplume again, it looks a lot like Venusaur. 100 special is the same as Venusaur's special. And, you know, the, like, defense, attack, HP is kind of in the same realm as Venusaur, just slightly worse. And then Abysmal 50 speed is worse than Venusaur, but regardless, I want to make sure that we understand that the Leaf Stone, unlike the Moonstone, is not going to be available until the 4th gym, and for reference, we are currently at the 2nd gym. I would guesstimate like 7-ish episodes of the LP to get there, like 6 to 7. I could be wrong, but either way, we're talking like a little bit into the future here, so you can't just like catch this and be like, I'm going to evolve it right away, pretty much. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But whenever you can evolve it, what are you getting yourself into? Well, given that Vileplume is really slow, you kind of have like a Pokemon that's geared to be like a tanky, slow Pokemon. And Vileplume stats do back that up. I mean, 85 defense is its literally second highest stat. Nothing to scoff at. HP is still nothing to scoff at. Special, of course, is really good. Its only real problem is that Grass Poison is kind of a terrible typing for it to be tanky. But, I mean, for what it is, you could do worse for sure. This is one of those Pokemon I could definitely recommend putting Solar Beam on, because it will definitely be able to live hits to be able to use it. It's definitely one of the few Pokemon that can say that, at least from the defensive side. Pretty much every grass type will be able to live a special hit to be able to do it, unless it's particularly weak to it, but I digress. Getting into the recommended moveset here, proper. First up is Petal Dance. Petal Dance is the signature move of the Oddish line just in general, and it's not a bad signature move to have. Petal Dance is 70 base power, 100% accurate, and it's kind of similar to Thrash in that it does damage for a set amount of turns, and then after those turns you get confused. Petal Dance is the second highest damaging grass type move in the game, only behind Solar Beam, but without the downside of it being a 2-turn move, right? It is arguably not as good as Razor Leaf is, just because higher critical hit chance makes Razor Leaf kind of an effective 110 base power move. But with Vileplume's abysmally slow speed, it's not going to be making use of Razor Leaf anyway, and I don't even think it gets Razor Leaf, to be honest. So, here we are. The main reason that I put Petal Dance on here is just because it was a signature move, and it's pretty solid for what it is, so I was like, why not? There's not really anything better you can put on anyway, besides like another powder or something, like Poison Powder or Stun Spore or something. So if that's your thing, go wild. Again, Solar Beam also is a thing you do. Our second move here is Mega Drain. I was trying to kind of lean into its bulk a little bit and give it a healing option. It's the only one that it gets, so there you go. Body Slam is using its respectable attack stat to put it to work, and I didn't want to like overlap with Stun Spore, which is why I left it off in favor of the last move, Sleep Powder. Sleep Powder, of course, putting things to sleep is just really good in this generation, and really every generation to some extent. So voila, there's your moveset. All in all though, if you are playing Pokemon Red specifically, I can tentatively recommend Vileplume as your grass option. It's certainly the only one you're going to get this early in the game that's relatively good. And again, for what it is, it's not bad. It's just, it's kind of antithetical in the way it's designed with how the game meta works, if you will. Which, you know, depending on the person, will be more or less of a problem. Its move pool is like as shallow as every other grass types, so there's not much to say there. Petal Dance is pretty cool, but the one thing I want to impress upon you if you are considering using it is, because it's a stone evolution, Vileplume basically gets no level up moves, and Petal Dance in specific is a level up move you have to get as a Gloom. So make sure that you get it as a Gloom before you evolve with the Leaf Stone, or you're just like SOL unless you want to catch another one and raise it. So yeah, I mean, overall, not too bad of a Pokemon. It's a solid showing for the first Mon of the episode. the weed Pokemon. It may be mistaken for a clump of weeds. If you try to yank it out of the ground, it shrieks horribly. I can't imagine. No nickname for Oddish. Backing up. Everyone knows the theory that Venomoth and Butterfree were switched early in development. The reason that people say this is because Venonat, Pokemon we're looking at right now, has the exact same design features as Butterfree does. It's got the same little hands, the same like fangs in the nose or mouth or whatever the hell that thing is. It's got the same eyes, the compound red eyes. It's got the same antenna. The point is that like everything about Venonat and Butterfree are the same. Like it just makes sense that Venonat would have evolved into Butterfree, and vice versa. Metapod and Caterpie, for that matter, have the same like eye design that Venomoth does, with like the round pupil. That is the prevailing theory. I think it goes deeper than that. Hear me out, okay? I think that Venonat was actually intended to have a split evolution, similar to how Wurmple does in Generation 3, where Venonat was going to evolve into Venomoth via one method and evolve into Butterfree via a different method. Okay? Or perhaps with the same way that it was going to work in Generation 3, who knows? The reason that I think this is because guess what all three of those Pokemon have in common? Venonat, Venomoth, and Butterfree. They all get random ass psychic type moves. They're like the only Pokemon that do that. They're like Bug Poison or Bug and just get a random freaking psychic type move, okay? It makes sense. Don't at me. And then you look at what they did in Generation 3 and you're like, alright, we got like this bug type that evolves into a Bug Poison or a Bug Flying. Come on. It makes sense, I'm telling ya. Okay, enough about fan theories and stuff like that. Let's talk about Venonat, the Pokemon, as it is in the game, and why you may or may not want it on your team. So, Venonat is one of those Bug Poison types, and it's not a particularly great one. Its standout feature is that it does get access to Psychic type moves, but that's not like anything too crazy, because it's not getting stabbed with it, but it is, never a bad thing to get access to Psychic type moves, so it could be worse, that's for sure. The biggest problem though with Venonat is we look at it when it evolves. Level 31 is insanely high for a 2-stage evolution mon, and I don't really think the payoff is there. Let's go ahead and take a look at Venomoth. 375 base stat total is worse than Vileplume. Like, come on, man. 90 special, 90 speed, kind of like okay, other stats. It could be better, it could be worse. The nice thing about its special being what it is that it can actually use Psychic pretty well overall, but I'm just not enthused. I'm not excited by this Pokemon very much. It just kind of exists. I'm not gonna say it's bad though. Like, if you wanted to use a bug type, you could do worse. Like, you could pick up a Beedrill or a Butterfree, and that would just be worse than a Venomoth. But at least Beedrill has, like, Twin Needle to make it kind of cool. This, I don't know. So many things in the game get Psychic, and so many things can use Psychic better than this. It's really not worth it, I'll be honest. But regardless, it's an okay Pokemon. Let's look at the recommended moveset that I've given it. First up, we have Psychic. I mean, come on. It's the only thing it's got going for it. We gotta give it to him. And then we have Mega Drain. It really just doesn't get any good bug or poison type moves, like, at all. It doesn't get any attacking poison type moves, and it gets Leech Life, so we're kind of stuck with Mega Drain. It does get Solar Beam, but I don't think it's a good Solar Beam user, hence why I put Mega Drain on here. Just for, and it's really just for coverage, is why Mega Drain's there. It'll help it against things that are weak to grass, specifically, and notably other Psychic types. So, on top of that, we have Sleep Powder and then Toxic. there's really no great like other attacking moves to give it, and there's definitely no great other status moves to give it. You could try to put Mimic on it, I guess, but I don't know. It didn't seem really worth it to me. And it's not like I'm trying to abuse the badge boost glitch that exists in Gen 1. I don't cater my movesets around that, so I'm not going to be putting like, I don't know whatever move that Venomoth gets that would trigger that. I chose Toxic over like Stung Spore just because it's a poison type, and I kind of thought it was thematic. Plus, I just on my own tend to favor Toxic over something like Stun Spore anyway. So there you go. There's the moveset. My 2 cents, just again, not a particularly great Pokemon. You're probably better off with other things that can do its job better. But here in yellow anyway, we get it relatively early, which is nice. And if you're like adamant about using a bug type, this one isn't half bad. You probably still want to wait and get some better options later if you're dead set on using a bug type. But this could definitely hold you over until then at the very least. I mean, level 31's a hard pill to swallow, I'm not gonna lie. By the time you evolve it, you're gonna want to replace it, so it is what it is, but let's just move on. The insect Pokemon. Its large eyes act as radars. In a bright place, you can see that they are clusters of many tiny eyes. Ugh. Insects are kind of cool though, low-key. No nickname. Third up. Guess what? That's right, we have another grass poison type. Everyone's favorite, right? Yeah, I know, it's I get it, okay? But we have to go over it because it's here. But honestly, the Bellsprout line is very, very similar to the Oddish line. They have like the exact same evolutionary path. They have like near identical move pools. They have the same typing. I mean, we're going to be keeping this one relatively short. So real quick, you might have noticed if you're very eagle-eyed that Bellsprout does have a slightly higher base stat total than Oddish did. Keep it in mind for later. And otherwise, everything I said about Oddish basically applies to Bellsprout. It's a decently solid early game option. I mean, hard to go wrong if you don't already have a grass type, or I guess even an electric type. I tend to either use an electric type or a grass type and not both, but your team is your team. You'll have to make that decision. And as such, we're going to go ahead and jump right into its evolution at level 21, Weepin' Bell. Again, nothing much unique here to talk about. It's just middle stage evolution again. It adds just some base stat points to all of its stats and doesn't rearrange them or do anything like crazy like that. Level 21, of course, is nothing to write home about. Not particularly good, not particularly bad. And again, everything I said about Gloom basically applies to Weepin' Bell here. We'll go ahead and jump straight to the final evolution via Leaf Stone, Victory Bell. Now, Victory Bell is actually quite interesting in comparison to Vileplume. First of all, it does have a full 30 extra base stat points as compared to Vileplume. That does put it into the 400 plus club for starters. On top of that, it does have 2 stats that are 100 plus, both its attack and its special. And one of Vileplume's biggest problems was its speed, because they only had a base 50 of speed, right? And Victory Bell does patch that and make it at least average with a speed of 70. Now, if you think back to Vileplume, its best stat was its special stat at base 100. And lucky here, Victory Bell's base special is 100. Now, why on God's green earth would you use a Vileplume over a Victory Bell? I want you to tell me too, because I don't know. The only thing that Vileplume actually has over Victory Bell is the fact that its defense is higher. That's it. Yeah, Pokemon Blue fans are eating good because Victory Bell is just a better option than Vileplume is. I mean, statistically it's better. It also arguably for me has a better moveset, but you know, we'll get to that in a second. Overall though, Victory Bell as a Pokemon, as a grass type, is actually a pretty good one. It's one of the best ones in the game, actually, to be honest. There's maybe one or two that you could say are better than it, one of them being the grass type starter. And for a grass poison type specifically, it's basically like one of the best in the game. And as such, if you're playing Pokemon Yellow, when you have the choice between the two of them, it becomes extremely hard to recommend Vileplume over Victory Bell. You might as well just pick up Victory Bell. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that its stats are just better calibrated for a single player game, as I've gone over many times. I mean, that base attack stat of 105 is nothing to sneeze at, and because you can use it more readily as a mixed attacker, it makes it a little bit better. Though, just like Vileplume, Victory Bell doesn't get any good poison type moves to be able to use its attack stat with, and so you're kind of stuck with normal type moves, but yeah, we'll take what we can get, right? Going straight into its moveset here, we have in the first slot Razor Leaf. This is the other like minor / major difference between Victory Bell and Vileplume. Vileplume, instead of Razor Leaf, gets Petal Dance, as we talked about. Now, I'm of the opinion that Razor Leaf is just a better move than Petal Dance is, even though on paper Razor Leaf has a lower base power than Petal Dance does. 55 versus 70. However, Petal Dance does have a lot of downsides to it. You get locked into it when you use it, and so for like the 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 turns that you're locked into Petal Dance, that's all you're doing. You can't switch out, you can't choose other moves. It's very like limiting in that way, and so you better not regret it, right? On top of that, once it ends, assuming it's not interrupted somehow, your Pokemon's left confused in the same way that Thrash leaves your Pokemon confused. Not exactly amazing. On the other hand, Razor Leaf, even though it's slightly lower base power, it does have a higher critical hit chance, which means that it would be like an 1/8 of the times it was 16th or something like that. I'm not totally brushed up on my critical hit chances, especially in Gen 1, but regardless, it's something like a pretty sizable increase for the amount of critical hits you're going to be doing, which means that Razor Leaf will do more damage than Petal Dance will do during those times where it gets critical hits, right? And the only downside to Razor Leaf, besides its slightly lower base power, is the fact that it loses 5% accuracy. Instead of 100%, it's 95%. So do with that information what you will. Once again, I'm of the opinion that Razor Leaf is better, and that's why I put it on its moveset. And, otherwise, Victory Bell does get access to Solar Beam and Mega Drain, so you could, in theory, craft with those if you'd wish. Outside of that, we do have Body Slam on here as well, and that's just really to take advantage of its deck set. I didn't want to put like Hyper Beam on here, even though I could have. I tend to favor only putting Hyper Beam on fast normal types specifically to take advantage of stab, but you could definitely put Hyper Beam on here and get some work done if you want. I also just enjoy the fact that you can paralyze with Body Slam, always have, always will. And then Sleep Powder, nothing new here, same reasons as Vileplume pretty much. And then finally Swords Dance. Now, while Vileplume did learn Swords Dance, I wasn't going for that with Vileplume, so I didn't put it on here. Victory Bell, though, being a mixed attacker, I was like, why not? Might as well. And if you put Hyper Beam on here too, you could definitely try to do like a physical sweeper type moveset with Vileplume, and maybe just forego Razor Leaf altogether. I didn't really want to do that, so I didn't, but food for thought. And yeah, that's Victory Bell here. I mean, again, overall, one of the best grass types in the game, can't go wrong. If you have access to both Oddish and Bellsprout, I will always recommend Bellsprout over Oddish. It's just hard not to. So yeah, Victory Bell's a great Pokemon, even more so than Vileplume was, and as such, I can recommend it over it. If you have access to both, I would pick a Bellsprout every day of the week. And similarly, it's going to be a good Pokemon pretty much throughout its entire lifespan. There are arguably some other better grass types in the game, but this is definitely one of the better ones in the game, just in general. And if you didn't pick a Bulbasaur as your grass type starter, or you didn't pick one up, or didn't want to use it or whatever, Victory Bell as a 1-to-1 replacement is actually probably the best grass poison type replacement in the game. all the other better grass types are going to be not part poison. So there you are. The flower Pokemon prefers hot and humid places. It ensnares tiny insects with its vines and devours them. Nice. No nickname for Bellsprout. And that does actually do it for all of the encounters on Route 24 here. Just these 3 Pokemon. If you are playing Red or Blue, you have access to an Abra rather than a Venonat. Just something to keep in mind. I'm going to go heal, deposit these Pokemon into the PC, and then we'll go back up there. Hold the phone. I happened to count, because I was getting suspicious, and we are full up on box 1. We have 20 Pokemon here, so I'm going to be changing the box. If you are following along, you've basically done everything I've done. Yeah, now's a good time to also change your box. Friendly reminder, if you try to catch a Pokemon while your box is on a full box, it'll be like, "Meh, it didn't work," or whatever the game gives you as an excuse, so it's very important that you do that. Alright, we are back up on Route 24, and actually, this is doubling as Route 25. Route 25 is kind of like this sideways part right here. Route 24 and Route 25 do both have patches of grass. You can see the grass right up here. But they have the exact same encounters as each other, respective to each version. So there's nothing new here for us to get Pokemon-wise, so we don't have to worry about that. But we do have quite a few trainer battles to go through up here, so we're going to start with this guy. I just got down from Mount Moon, but I'm ready. Alright, now while we're battling this guy, you guys have no idea how excited I am to be recording again, because it's been quite a while since the last time I recorded. A lot of things happened. If you are not one to look at the community posts, but you're still curious, the long story short is I ended up taking a break from recording just in general because I was busy with other stuff. And then during that break, one of my hard drives failed. And I didn't have a backup for it because I'm dumb. It was unrecoverable, unfortunately, because it was an NVMe drive, and it was just some firmware thing that got shot. I don't think it was related to the whole Microsoft update thing that happened around the same time. I think it was coincidental, but regardless, yeah, it was interesting because that happened. A lot of the stuff that was on that hard drive was it was both a good and bad drive to lose. It was bad in the sense that a lot of random irreplaceable stuff was on it, but it was good in the sense that it's it was a small drive, and so replacing it was not the most complicated thing in the world. We're still doing good, but Pikachu did level up. Switch you out. We did get that hidden elixir on the wall up there too. You're going to see Bill. First, let's battle. Anyway, so then a lot of the things that I use as tools to record this LP were lost on that hard drive, which is essentially why recording completely stopped for a long time. I had to remake the things I had already made to be able to do this. And I'm technically still not done doing that, but I'm in a place now where I can at least record this. So here we are. Still good to go here. Let's fight this guy. Local trainers come here to practice. But yeah, all that said and done, I'm finally back. I'm finally ready to record again. The funny thing about losing a bunch of data like that is you kind of come out the other side and you go, well, at least the silver lining is that when I had to like redo stuff, it's different for better or for worse. And so we'll see what ends up happening in the future. But outside of that, we have the Spearow here. Yeah, I forgot how strong Lumen is. Not too bad. I mean, Pound's like a weak move, and it's still putting in a lot of work right now. You're decent. I'll give you that. I'll give you that, kid. You're decent. Alright, let's, oh, I thought you leveled up. You did not, though. Dad took me to a great party on SS Anne at Vermilion City. Spoilers? God. This guy. Oh, Slowpoke. Slowpoke's cry is like really funny to me. I have no good reason to think that's funny. It just is. Ooh, that was a crit. Slowpoke is so bulky. But fusion, not a big deal. Bam. I'm not mad. Now you, yeah, I was gonna say. I was pretty sure. Hi, my boyfriend is cool. So one of the things I lost when I lost that hard drive is I lost my I had like a Google sheet that I was using, or sorry, it was actually a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, and I was using that to do the graphs for all the base stats that you see in all the bios, and yeah, that was gone, so I had to remake that. It's not the most complicated thing in the world to remake, but getting like the output of it, the like actual graph to look and be sized correctly, extremely difficult, if not impossible. And so I had to, or slash I'm going to have to rather, because I haven't actually used it yet as of right now, but I'm gonna have to make concessions on trying to line it up with what it used to look like. They should look basically the same, but the sizing is just going to be a little bit weird. Thankfully, though, I somehow didn't lose the actual, like, template that I was using to make the actual, like, bio part of the bio, where it has, like, the recommended moveset and the evolution data and all that junk. I'm in a slump. I did not lose that somehow. Who knows how that didn't happen. It was like, I was keeping it on a different drive for some reason. I want to see a Pokemon collector at the Cape. Is that what this is? This is a cape? I mean, I guess, in a way. I didn't lose that somehow, so that's good. But I also lost all of my, my original... I lost all my original site files for, like, the first 2 original Let's Plays. So that was interesting. I didn't lose them permanently though, because I did have them. It was like copies of them, and I had the original still. So, what am I gonna use against this Geodude? Am I gonna stay in? No, I'm not. That was the answer to that. Even though it's low leveled, I just don't feel like putting up with it. But I did lose, however, all of my planning that I was doing for current and future Pokemon Let's Plays. I had like all my teams figured out already, and I was like, alright, this is all locked in, set in stone. Pretty much all gone. I'm gonna have to like recreate those, which is a combination of like whatever I happen to remember and whatever I happen to decide in the process of just like creating them again. So that's one of those, like, you know, in a vacuum, it's interesting to see what's going to change now that this has happened, and if it's going to be better or for worse, even though there's no telling what the original outcome was going to be. Alright, get rid of this Geodude. I'm tired of fighting this hiker. Good job, Lumen. I really need to go heal is what I need to do. You got me. You really got me. As much as I want to heal, I'm actually going to fight this dude real quick. Make sure you do that from right there so that he walks up, like, far enough down to create an opening. I'm a cool guy. I've got a girlfriend. Wow. If you trigger his battle any square further up, then he's going to block the entrance to that little area, and then you'll have to come back later to be able to get anything from there. Let's go ahead and Thundershock you. Oh. Oh. Quick attack? Okay, good. We crit. Very nice, Chubbychu. Ekans. Frankly, not really sticking around to find out if I'm gonna live. Not too interested in that. I'm just gonna pound. I could sing, but yeah, I didn't think that would be that big of a deal. It wasn't. Oh, darn. Alright, now before you leave the area, make sure you come up here and grab this, TM19, which is, in fact, Seismic Toss. Now, believe it or not, I actually do want to teach Seismic Toss to Chubbychu. We're gonna have this on his final moveset, believe it or not. What am I gonna get rid of here? I mean, as much as I hate to do it, we're gonna get rid of Quick Attack. The logic here, so Seismic Toss is one of those moves that does a set amount of damage, and it's equal to the level of the Pokemon using it. So Pikachu right now being level 21, right? 21? Yeah, 21. We'll do 21 HP of damage to whatever he uses it against. And it might not sound particularly great, but it kind of like scales relatively well. Like, when you're higher level, you'll probably be like somewhere in the range of like 3 to 4 shotting things with it. And so it's a really consistent, nice move to use when you have a Pokemon that has a shallow move pool like Pikachu does, that might get matched up against things that it can't hit super well, which is basically to say ground types, especially ground rock types. So that was the main logic on why we put it onto the moveset here. I'm gonna meet you guys back up to where we just were. Okay, so we've battled all of these guys. 2 hikers, 2 youngsters, alas, another hiker, a junior trainer. What else is there even to battle? Oh, this guy's here. I knew I had to fight you. I just knew it. It was my destiny. Oh, look, another youngster. Wow. Kids these days and their Ekans. Alright, I'm gonna move this actually down here. And then am I gonna do here? I'm gonna... I guess I'm gonna Thunder Shock. Oh, that did well. It was a crit, but it still did well. And then, too bad I don't have Quick Attack. No, I'm just kidding. Seismic Toss will be fine. We get to see the animation for it. Technically not as good as Quick Attack because it doesn't have priority for situations like that, but you know what? I don't regret anything besides missing that Mega Punch. Don't you dare. Okay, good. Wow, that did only half. Well, we'll just keep going. I knew that was not going to faint. Go! I knew I'd lose too. Well, at least you had no delusions of your skill level. This girl, I think, has stuff that will annoy me. My friend has a cute Pokemon. I'm so jealous. I know exactly who your friend is. I met her, I'm pretty sure. She was waiting for you. In that foggy town. Or, I guess it was a cave. And I guess there wasn't any fog either, but regardless, this does annoy me greatly. Mega Punch should do it though. Yes! Yes! At least they didn't use Sleep Powder. I don't know if you can get Sleep Powder at this lower level on Oddish. Offhand. Pidgey? We have just the thing for that. Another Oddish? Let's see what 2 Seismic Tosses gets us. I don't think Oddish has a great HP stat. Yeah, we're fine, especially at that lower level. I love two-shotting with Seismic Toss. I'm not so jealous of these mad skills. You should be. On the fence right to the right of that last, there's a hidden ether. Always worth it to grab those. And we've made it to the Cape, as the game has put it, through trainer dialogue. Yeah, there's not anything like here, like specifically that you need to concern yourself with, except for the house. What is it? I don't know either. It kind of looks like a Pokemon. Does he? Yeah, it gives us the same expression. I kind of like that. Alright. Hiya, I'm a Pokemon. No, I'm not. Call me Meowth. That's right. Oh, call me Bill. I'm a true blue Pokemaniac. Hey, what's with that skeptical look, pal? I'm not joshing you. I screwed up an experiment and got combined with a Pokemon. What weird-ass experiments were you doing here, bro? So how about it? Help me out here. No. No, come on. You gotta help a guy in deep trouble. What do you say, Chief? Please? Okay, alright. When I'm in the teleporter, go to my PC and run the cell separation system. I can't believe you said Chief. That's really funny. I feel like that's one of those things that, I don't even know if it was in style back then to say that, but it definitely kind of, came around, and now it's kind of used somewhat as slang, but not really. So yeah, we go up to this keyboard attached to the, like, computer monitor or whatever that's supposed to be. Red initiated teleporters cell separator. Surprise Pikachu before Surprise Pikachu became a thing. Yeehaw! Thanks, bud. How you won? So, did you come to see my Pokemon collection? You didn't. That's a bummer. I forgot to thank you. Oh, here. Maybe this'll do. SS ticket. Wow. That cruise ship SS Anne is in Vermilion City. We did hear about that. Its passengers are all trainers. They invited me to their party, but I'm not a trainer. That's what I'm gathering from this. But I can't stand fancy dudes. Why don't you go instead of me? Okay, if you say so. Are you good, Pikachu? Don't worry too much about it. It's not really worth it. Okay, he just says the same thing. But what we can do is if we leave and then come back in. Blue did say something about checking out his Pokemon collection. Look, bud, just check out some of my rare Pokemon on my PC. So yeah, we can actually look at his favorite Pokemon list, which conveniently happens to be Blue's starter for some reason. But yeah, you can get like a little sneak peek of what the Pokemon is. This is basically just Eevee and all of its evolutions. This is, I think it also counts towards your Pokemon scene in your Pokedex. If we go in here. 38. Eevee's like all the way at the bottom. Yeah, so now we have seen all of these just because we looked at them on the PC. Pretty cool. But yeah, that was all that we had to do up there, is actually just get that ticket. And that ticket's very important, so can't skip it or anything like that. Plus, the game did conveniently progression lock us, because we have to go up there to trigger something. But to make it back down to Cerulean, we could just take this little ledge, like, or side path, I guess, where the ledge was that we looked at last time, and jump on down. But after we've done that, after we've gone and helped out Bill, the police officer moves aside from this door. These poor people here were robbed. Yep. We read that last time. I think I'm gonna heal before we deal with that, so hold your horses. Alright. Now, once we're inside, we can see that this place has indeed been ransacked to hell and back. There's, like, Pokemon footprints everywhere. There's a hole in the wall. This plant was knocked over. Oh, the humanity. Team Rocket must be trying to dig their way into no good. Those miserable Rockets. Look what they did here. They stole a TM for teaching the Pokemon how to dig holes. That cost me a bundle, it did. How did they know that you had it? I guess they were staking it out or something. Are you the guy? Hey, stay out. It's not your yard. Huh? Me? I'm an innocent bystander. Don't you believe me? Not even a little bit. You look as suspicious as, like, that potted plant that was knocked over in there. So yeah, this grunt just happens to be lingering, which is nice for us. Let's go ahead and let's Thundershock this guy. Okay, I'm not impressed. What about Seismic Toss? If Seismic Toss does more than Thundershock, I'm gonna crash out. Okay, good. Karate Chop, not even fighting type. And then what's your last Pokemon? Is it what I think it is? It starts with D? Yeah, it is. Okay. Drowsy. Fun little Psychic type Pokemon. I'm gonna actually Mega Punch this guy. High special, not so great defense, but not bad defense either. Ooh, my Thunder Wave. Oh well. Oh, I love it when we're disabled no more as soon as they use disable. Gym 1's balanced, guys. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Stop! I give up. I'll leave quietly. Okay, I'll return the TM I stole. I better get moving. Bye! And just like that, he's gone. So yeah, he does in fact give us TM28, which is in fact Dig. Dig is actually a really good move, as we've kind of covered in the bios. If you've been skipping those, the gist of it is that they Dig is 100 base power, and it's a ground type move, so it's on par with the best ground type move in the game. The only problem with it is that it's a 2-turn move, and so that's not like ideal, but in a single player game setting, not bad either. It's also a field move, and we'll get into what it does in a second. I figure what's lost is lost. I decided to teach Diglett how to dig without a TM. Well, okay, I was going to return it to you, but if you don't want it back, then you don't want it back, you know? Can I also report to you that I beat that guy up? No, I can't. Okay. Well, I tried. So, now that we've done that, though, I do want to head in to the gym here. Cerulean City, a mysterious blue aura. Or is this the gym sign? Yeah, this is the gym sign. The tomboyish mermaid, right, of course. So let me heal and then we'll do that. Alright, now let's go ahead and head into the gym. Okay, great. Cerulean City Pokemon Gym, leader Misty. Winning trainers blue, of course. I guess I should expect that at this point. Yo, champion making. Here's my advice. The leader Misty is a pro who uses water Pokemon. You can drain all their water with a plant Pokemon. Or zap them with electricity. Plant Pokemon. I feel like that's one of those mistranslations. Or just poor wording choices. Alright, let's go ahead and let this guy see us. Splash! It had no effect. I'm first up, let's do it. Alright, so you thought that Pikachu did terrible in the first gym. And Pikachu did do terrible in the first gym, but he definitely gets his redemption in the second gym just because of the type matchup being good. But that's not to say that Pikachu's like busted. Like Ivysaur at this point you should have would still be better for this gym. And would still have been good on the first gym. It's just you know, we're kind of in like that transition period where Pikachu's stats are starting to fall off a little bit. And so it's like, I would expect to be able to one-shot these. We're just not doing it though. Unless it's a Shelter. The Shelter's special is terrible. That can't be. Alright, now up here. I guess we'll let Lumen take over for this. I'm more than good enough for you. Misty can wait. Junior trainer female. Goldeen. Not a terrible Pokemon. Sing, I guess. I don't think Goldeen has anything that can really... Oh, well, turn 1 wake up, not so good. I don't think Goldeen has anything that can really hurt us. I think Goldeen's like signature move that gets his Peck. It's not actually a signature move, but it like weirdly gets Peck instead of anything useful. Okay, well. That Sing was extremely useless. You overwhelmed me. Alright, let's heal again before we take on the leader. Alright, now I'm gonna stand up here actually. Let's go ahead and talk to her. Hi, you're a new face. What's your policy on Pokemon? What is your approach? My policy is an all-out offensive with water-type Pokemon. Misty, the world-famous beauty, is your host. Are you ready, sweetie? Don't call me sweetie. You're not nearly old enough to get away with that. Alright, so Misty has a Staryu. Staryu on its own, not particularly scary. We're just gonna Thundershock the heck out of it. It's probably gonna live. Yeah. X defend. What a waste of your turn. We'll take it though. Alright, now the actual like scary part is Misty also has a Starmie. Starmie is actually a very good Pokemon, just like in general, but Misty's moveset for it isn't like super crazy. The only problem is that it does have a good water type move, and it could spam it theoretically, but we got lucky in the fact that Starmie used Tackle. I was expecting to kill it with that. Oh, it outsped me. That was the good water move, but we lived. We're fine. Okay. You know what? That went really fast. I was gonna be like, actually, Misty's really scary because Starmie's actually pretty good and blah, 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 blah. Clearly not. I can't believe I lost. Alright. You can have the Cascade badge to show you beat me. The Cascade badge makes all Pokemon up to level 30 obey. That includes even outsiders. And there's more. You can now use Cut anytime. You can cut down small bushes to open new paths. You can also have my favorite TM. Yeah, so she does give you TM11. TM11 is, of course, what she was using, which is Bubble Beam. I guess we could teach it to Lumen. We could do that. Now I'd have to think on it a little bit, but regardless, I'm gonna go heal. Okay, after some deliberation, I decided that I was gonna go ahead and teach Bubble Beam to Lumen. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Lumen, yes. We're, of course, gonna get rid of Water Gun. That's just basically like a straight upgrade over Water Gun. So, not much reason not to. And now that we've done that, we're gonna go ahead and head on out of here. The only way that we can leave is through this house. Hence the progression lock that I was talking about. But once we're out here, off to the right here is a skinny little tree that's in the way that we can't do anything with. And so we have to go down. And this little area, pressing B button during evolution cancels the whole process. That is true. This whole area is Route 5. Route 5 is an interesting one. Basically, these like side paths on the either side of like this middle area have basically nothing on them. But there is a one-way trip down the middle, which has grass patches in it, and it does in fact have a new Pokemon for us to catch. So, we actually have bring. Ooh, am I gonna bring Chubbychu back out? I don't know who I want to use to catch Pokemon with. I'm gonna stick with Lumen for right now, and we're gonna go ahead and catch some Pokemon. First up. Why did Jigglypuff of all Pokemon get into Smash again? That aside though, this is the last Moonstone evolution in the game that we are going to be able to talk about, because it just is the last one in the game. The fourth one, in fact. And there should be something that sticks out to you like a sore goddamn thumb about this Pokemon. Its HP stat is 115. That is the 6th best HP stat in the entire game. Disgusting. This Pokemon is level 5. We're encountering it at level 5. And it's unevolved. And it's got the 6th best HP stat in the game. Insane, just like hyper specialization that this Pokemon has. It's literally half of its base stat total at 225. It's like a little bit over half, actually. Unfortunately, though, it comes at a high cost because its defense, special, and speed are all abysmally low at 20, 25, and 20. Yeah, it's as cool as its HP stat is, it's not exactly gonna offset the massive sacrifice you make, especially at a special. And its attack stat is, you know, it'll leave you wanting. So that all said, this Pokemon might remind you of Clefairy because they're both pink and round and 2-stage Moonstone evolutions and pure normal types and stuff. I mean, they weren't exactly subtle. And Jigglypuff itself is quite the iconic Pokemon for some reason or another. My memory fails me as to exactly why it's so iconic, but my educated guess would be it's from the anime. I'm pretty sure it had some like funny scenes that made it relatively iconic, and maybe just because it was in Smash, who knows. And that's why we're gonna go straight to its evolution via Moonstone, Wigglytuff. Now, Wigglytuff's HP stat gets even better. 140. That is the single largest goddamn stat we've seen in the entire game so far. And you thought that Golem's defense stat was good. Needless to say, this is, you know, better than the 6th best HP stat in the game. It's top 3, the 3rd best in the game. It is a glorious sight to see. I do love to see it. And again, it's you know, its other stats are quite lacking, although its attack stat is kind of nice. It's sitting at 70, so it's kind of like average. It's not particularly bad, but it's also not particularly good. HP is a weird stat to specialize in, though, because while it does like kind of give you the best of both worlds in the sense of like when you're talking HP versus defense versus special defense, or in Gen 1's case just special, the HP stat doesn't care if it's physical or special damage and just kind of applies to both, which is nice. But defense and special defense are like pound for pound gonna do more against their respective their respective yeah, it would be a damage typing, that is. But it's kind of like wishy-washy, like you're gonna take it on a case-by-case basis on which one you want, more HP or more physical defense or special defense, right? But of course, I've said it a million times, for in-game runs, you're gonna want to focus on your attack stats, and especially in Gen 1, you're gonna want to focus on your special. So that leaves Wigglytuff in a weird spot where it's like, cool, it has a like top 3 HP stat, but what do I do with it? And it's not a question that's so easily answered, to say the least. Let's go ahead and look at its recommended moveset that I've given it here. Body Slam, you know the drill, stab, all that junk. But then I also have Submission in the second slot here. I believe we might have talked about Submission before, but I'll give like a little overview again. It's 80 base power, 80% accurate. It does about a quarter of whatever you deal to the Pokemon that you're fighting back to you in recoil. And it's kind of a weird move, but because Wigglytuff's HP is so high, it does actually take advantage of his HP stat in a weird way because of the recoil eating into your gigantic HP bar, regardless of your defense and special defense. It kind of works out. And it also is the only physical attacking type that Wigglytuff gets access to for coverage reasons. So there you go. I did what I could for its HP stat. And then outside of that, I gave it Blizzbolt because, we've talked about it before, Blizzbolt. But Blizzbolt is just goated. And you know, you might be looking at its HP stat and go, why didn't you give it rest? Well, rest isn't nearly as good as it would be in later generations because there's no synergy with like giving it a held item that'll cure sleep right away or anything like that. We're stuck in Gen 1 where rest is kind of weird to use versus other options, but not bad necessarily. Like there are definitely use cases for it. It's just for in-game, you're probably better off just attacking with Wigglytuff's garbage special stat for coverage reasons. But yeah, I mean, overall, it's kind of hard to recommend a Wigglytuff when Clefable exists. They're, you know, the closest comparison that you can draw between Pokemon is definitely Clefable to Wigglytuff. And Clefable, while not having a 140 HP stat, still has a respectable HP stat and has a way more respectable defense, speed, and special. Plus, on top of that, Clefable's attack stat is still 70. So they do the same amount of like physical damage, and Clefable just gets to use Blizzbolt better. Like, it's not exactly a hard choice for me, and it really shouldn't be for you either, to be honest. On top of that, Clefable does also have just like a higher base stat total in general, so it's got that going for it too. Outside of that though, I do kind of hate to rag on Wigglytuff this hard because I do like Wigglytuff. I like its design. I like the like kind of idea behind it. It's definitely unique, but yeah, I mean, if Clefable didn't exist, it would be maybe a slightly more interesting Pokemon, if not unfortunately specced, for lack of a better word, for solo in-game. But you know, as it stands, just pick up a Clefable. You can get it earlier in Yellow, and you're going to get like a much more useful Pokemon overall. I wish I could say better things about Wigglytuff because it's kind of a cool Pokemon, but it is what it is. If you do want to pick it up, at least put Submission on it, or I guess maybe Rest or something. Put the HP stat to use. But that's all I got. Let's go ahead and move on. The Balloon Pokemon uses its alluring eyes to enrapture its foe. It then sings a pleasing melody that lulls the foe to sleep. No nickname for Jigglypuff. There it is. And here we have it, our first Psychic type in the game, and it used Teleport? Excuse me? What? Yeah, this Pokemon is actually quite infamous because it uses Teleport, as you saw, and then just runs from battle. That's what that move does. And regardless of where or when or how you would catch an Abra, it will always know Teleport because that's the only level up move it actually learns. So you're stuck with it. Every Abra that you want to catch in this game, you're going to have to throw a ball turn 1 if you want any hope. Otherwise, it'll just flee, obviously, unless you have some way of preventing it from doing that. In Gen 1, that's going to mean putting it to sleep or paralyzing it, or if you're like late game coming back, freezing it, because you don't have access to freezing moves this early in the game. Sleep is probably going to be your best bet just because there are dedicated sleeping moves, and sleep is going to be better than paralysis because you're not relying on luck. We happen to have Lumen with Sing, which has this covered there, thankfully, but you know, otherwise you might want to grab that Ultra Ball that we got earlier and chuck it on turn 1 and just hope for the best and like reset if you don't get it right. Yeah, what I was saying before I interrupted myself, Abra is the first Psychic type that we've run into in this game, and Psychic in this generation is a goated type for a lot of reasons. The main one being it basically has no weaknesses in this generation because its only weaknesses are Bug type, and that's it. It should have been Ghost type, but there was a bug, haha funny, where instead of being a weakness for Psychic, instead it just does no damage to Psychic. Yeah, let that sink in. It does no damage to Psychic. I don't know how that happened, but here we are. And as we've covered many times, there are no good bug type moves in the game that can really do a lot of damage, your best bet is Twin Needle, and even then, that's not particularly good. And of course, there are no bug type Pokemon that learn Twin Needle except for Beedrill, which has like garbage. You get it. You get the whole picture. Basically, Psychic types are completely unchecked. They have no weaknesses. And even though the Psychic type itself also doesn't have all that many resistances, it's still hard to counter a Psychic type just because of how strong they are. And to make things worse, Psychic hits almost every type in the game, neutrally at least, if not super effectively. And then the only thing that resists Psychic type attacks is itself. That's right, Psychic is its own biggest counter. It's crazy. I don't know who QA'd that and was like, yep, it's good to go, ship it. Beats me. Long story short, Psychic is like actually meta defining in this generation, so we're starting off with a bang, especially for a Psychic type, because look at that special stat. 100 in goddamn 5 is extremely high for an unevolved Pokemon that you can get at level 7. Unfortunately, it can't use it because of the whole level up move situation, only getting teleport. Thankfully though, you can pump TMs into it, so if you are dead set on keeping an Abra, you could probably sweep through the game with it just fine, just because of how goated that special stat is and having high speed to make up with it too, and probably crit a lot. But you will have to pump TMs into it to actually give it anything it can use. So that aside, I do want to point out that it has a defense stat of 15, which is actually the second worst defense stat in the game. There's a defense stat that's worse than it, believe it or not, but I mean, even with the abysmal stats we've had lately, 15 is even worse than 20, right? A little bit special because it actually completely doesn't fit on the thing. 20 doesn't fit, but it at least looks like it mostly fits. 15 is just one number in, one number out. It's kind of special in that sense. But I guess that's why they grouped them together here on yellows, because both Jigglypuff and Abra have 3 garbage red stats or something. I don't know. Unlike Jigglypuff though, Abra's 3 red stats don't really matter because special and speed are just the golden ticket in this game. If there's a perfect Pokemon stat distribution, this is it. Speed and special are the 2 kings of in-game Pokemon. That's what you want your Pokemon to have. And obviously something that also has other good stats is going to be preferred, but for a non-legendary Pokemon, this is the cream of the crop. And it's a Psychic type. The point being is that Abra is a go-to Pokemon, even as an Abra, as long as you want to put TMs into it. But you do have to put in your work to catch it. I guess they balanced it in a way by making it hard to catch, but yeah, it is quite something. Now we're going to go ahead and talk about its evolution at level 16, Kadabra. You may have noticed that this is unfortunately a trait evolution Pokemon, which maybe weirdly balances it in a way. So we got the separated recommended moveset as we had with the Geodude line, and as you might have expected, Kadabra is just kind of better Abra. It's got slightly higher special at 120, which is ridiculous, and it's got a speed of 105. Very fast. It's going to be critting a lot, and you're going to be lapping up those one-hit KOs. Its other 3 stats that were already abysmal are not much better, but at least they're not actually abysmal anymore because they're not blood red, which is, nice, but still gonna be super frail. Just kill everything before it kills you. It should be fine for Kadabra here. You might have noticed that its catch rate has an asterisk on it. It's 100 asterisk. That is because Kadabras in Pokemon Yellow, you can actually catch them on Route 8, believe it or not. Wild Kadabras on Route 8, which we'll get to eventually. We're on Route 5 right now, but Route 8 is not too far away. Maybe I don't even know, 5 or so videos in the future. But you can catch a Wild Kadabra. There's not really much reason to wait, honestly. I wouldn't bother. But the reason that that matters, the reason the catch rate's different, is because in Pokemon Yellow specifically, the catch rate of the Kadabra is still 100. However, after you catch it, the game changes the catch rate of the Pokemon you've caught to 96. Why do they do that? Mainly because they want to be able to identify if that Pokemon was indeed caught in Yellow, and for a reason we'll get to much later. But the Kadabra, not Abra, but specifically Kadabra, and then by proxy its evolution, have a signature move in Pokemon Yellow only, the move Kinesis. As far as I know, I think Kinesis is actually unused in Red and Blue, but existed. And then they just like gave it to Kadabra in Pokemon Yellow for some reason. But you have to find it on Wild Kadabra because it learns it, or it comes with it at level 1, if you will, I'm pretty sure. Something like that. Abra, if you just evolve an Abra into a Kadabra, it won't learn Kinesis at any point during level up. So Kinesis, though, if you're curious, is a accuracy lowering move. It's basically just like Flash, but maybe like more accurate, so it's slightly better. Not worth talking about, honestly. I, again, wouldn't bother. Just catch an Abra now if you really want a Kadabra, or I guess an Abra. But that's what the deal is with the catch rate. And let's go ahead and talk real quick about its recommended moveset. First up, we of course have Psychic, which is the most powerful Psychic type move in the game. It's like base 90 power and 100% accurate, and it can lower special or something ridiculous. It's a goated move. You should put it on every Psychic type and maybe even non-Psychic types. But as like a coverage move, Psychic is kind of the Psychic type is kind of debatable just because it doesn't hit like a lot super effectively. Only fighting and poison, which aren't like I guess in-game Pokemon, they are really useful just because there's a lot of poison types that you end up fighting. But I digress. Usually you're not like frothing at the mouth to get 2 extra super effective attacks, even though the actual like being able to hit everything at least neutrally is really good. With Stab though, obviously it's a no-brainer, and that's why it's on here. And then unfortunately, Kadabra's like one biggest problem is that its move pool is really shallow. It's got like the classic special attacker that gets no other special attacking moves except for the type that it is. It's got one of those problems. And then it gets like a bunch of normal type physical attacking moves, and then it gets some status moves, and then it gets like submission and counter and seismic toss for fighting type moves. You know, that's basically all it's got. So we're going to be working with what we have here. That brings us to move 2, which is seismic toss. Because Kadabra's attack stat's only 35, there's basically 0 point in putting a like traditional physical attacking move on here, and that's where seismic toss comes in. You know the drill of seismic toss, and so it just kind of fits well with a Pokemon that needs some sort of coverage but has like actually 0 good options. And specifically I'm talking about coverage against other psychic types, obviously. Otherwise just use psychic, you know. And then third up, we have Recover. Recover is one of those moves that very few Pokemon actually get, but it's really good because it just straight up recovers your health by like 50 or 75% or something like that. But it has no downside on like Rest. So you can just spam Recover as long as you have the PP for it and be perfectly fine. And so on something this frail, it's debatably not particularly good, but Kadabra also has like literally nothing better going for it. And in this generation specifically, at least, Kadabra, because its special is so high and because of how special works, it can soak up some special type hits, especially from other psychic types, really goddamn well. And so that's where Recover would come in for the most part, is just recovering from other, like battling, dueling other psychic types, and possibly some other special attacking type Pokemon. But regardless, last move, we have Thunder Wave. Thunder Wave is just like we have a Pokemon with high speed and basically no better moves to give it, and so being able to paralyze the opponent and slow them down, Gen 1 Jank aside, is pretty much always a good thing. And then yeah, that rounds out the moveset for Kadabra here. If you don't have access to trading and this is the Pokemon that you're considering, it's actually one of the best Pokemon in the game. and in that sense, easiest recommendation of my life. You know, it can actually like solo the game for you. You could just take this out and just like destroy the game with Psychic. You do have to get the Abra to level 16 to evolve it, which might involve some switch training, or maybe you want to like toss the Seismic Toss TM on it and kind of baby it through its first few levels to get some decent damage going with Seismic Toss or something. But yeah, once you get to level 16 and it evolves, it learns Confusion right on level 16, and then you're off to the races at that point. You're going strong. It'll get you through the entire game. It remains good through the entire game. I can't say enough good things about it. And in fact, despite the fact that you can get this in every single version of the game, I like banned myself from being able to use it because it's that good. I was like, it's too cliche to use something this good on a team. And so I just like completely banned myself from using it on the Let's Play. That's how good it is, okay? Now, via trade, Kadabra does evolve into Alakazam. And that special stat, man, that special stat gets even better. 135. It's almost as good as Wigglytuff's HP stat. Just a little bit off, but obviously special being the goated stat that it is in Gen 1 makes this like orgasm worthy, okay? 135 special, I kid you not, is the second best special stat in the game. The only Pokemon that has a better special stat than Alakazam is like the goddamn like strongest Pokemon in the game, the strongest legendary Pokemon in the game. That's how good this special stat is. And for reference, Kadabra's special stat was already like a top 6 if you ignore ties. Special stat. There's quite a lot of Pokemon that have like 120, 130, somewhere around there, like 120, 125, 130. And then on top of that, its speed, it goes from 105 to 120. There's not all that many things in the game that are faster than an Alakazam. Again, if you ignore ties, this is a top 3 speed stat in the game. If you don't ignore ties, this is tied for a 5th best speed stat in the game. It is an insane Pokemon to be like as fast as it is, and also as strong as it is, and defensive because special, you know? Insanely busted Pokemon. Everything I said about Kadabra basically just goes like tenfold for Alakazam. There's probably an argument to be made that Alakazam is the 3rd best Pokemon, like just straight up in the game. 2nd best probably for in-game, or actually probably just straight up the best for in-game, actually, now that I think about it. If you have no shame and you have no like nothing holding you back from being able to get an Alakazam, then just pick one up and kick back and relax. It will take you wherever the hell you want it to. If you've never used an Alakazam and you have the ability to, or even if you haven't used a Kadabra, I would recommend trying it at least once just to be able to be like, oh my god, this is what actually like having power feels like. It's kind of just like a transcendent experience. Highly recommend. And that brings us to the recommend moveset. I know that I was saying before that trade Pokemon will have like separate movesets for the second stage and then the final stage because of trading and all that. In the case of Kadabra and Alakazam, their movesets are going to be exactly the same, and that's just because they're the difference between their move pools when Kadabra evolves to Alakazam is not like different to the point of warranting a different moveset for Alakazam. The only difference between their move pools is that Alakazam gets access to Hyper Beam, and that is it. And of course, with Alakazam's attack stat 50, we're not going to put Hyper Beam on it. It's just not going to happen. So, yeah, there you have it. If I keep talking about it, I'm basically just going to be more of a broken record than I already have been about how good it is. So, yeah, it's goddamn good. Probably the best Pokemon in the in-game, if you will. Just like if you were to do an in-game tier list, it's definitely the best one in the game. So yeah, goddamn psychic types, man. Goddamn psychic types. The PSI Pokemon sleeps 18 hours a day. If it senses danger, it will teleport itself to safety even as it sleeps. No nickname for Abra. And that is everything new on Route 5 here that we can get in this version. Besides that, we do have this house at the end of the like ledges. You do have to jump down the ledges and go through the grass to get here, but we have this little house here. Quaint little house. I run a daycare. Would you like me to raise one of your Pokemon? No. Come again. Yeah, so this guy is the daycare person, and unlike the daycare in like future generations, not very important in this game. The daycare can only carry one Pokemon at a time, and it otherwise functions like a daycare usually does, where based on the amount of steps that you take, you get like 1 experience per step in the Pokemon in your daycare. And so you can just like set up like a macro or something to keep walking in the game and grind levels for your Pokemon by doing that. The downside of doing that is that you're not getting stat experience while you do that, obviously. You can get around it in this generation, but still, just as a rule of thumb, it's not a great thing unless you already have like maxed out stuff, but that's hard to do in Generation 1 anyway. Besides that though, the way that the daycare works is when your Pokemon levels up and it wants to learn a level up move, the daycare person will be like, sure, and they'll just get rid of whatever the top move in your move slot is. So if you want like a specific move, you better make sure that it's not in your top slot already, or you better make sure that you're, you know, set up to be able to take it correctly. And then you might want to withdraw early if need be, but essentially also based on how much experience your Pokemon has gained, the person, when you go to withdraw your Pokemon, will be like, that'll be X amount of dollars. And obviously it increases as the level of your Pokemon increases in the daycare. So we're not going to be utilizing his services anytime soon, but it's still pretty cool nonetheless. Before we move on though into the underground path, Cerulean City to Vermilion City, let's go down here. I'm on guard duty. Gee, I'm thirsty. Though. Oh, wait there. The road's closed. Yeah, you can't go down this way. You do have to go through the underground path. So that is something we will end up doing. But not right this second. Instead, we're basically going to be ending the episode here. Nice little, like, stopping point. We did get a badge and made some decent progress, but before we end the episode, there is one other Pokemon that is found on Route 5 that we cannot get in this version of the game. So we're going to be doing some trading here. Alright, so here we are in the trade menu. The important information you need to know is that I have this Meowth here from Pokemon Blue. And I'm going to be trading it for this Pidgey that I caught on Route 5. Just a random Pokemon. Unfortunately, the like pairing that you would normally have between like red and blue that I like to do is a Mankey, and Mankey isn't catchable on Route 5 in this version of the game, so we had to make do with whatever else we could catch, and that happened to be a Pidgey. We're gonna go ahead and trade those. And that's it. So something else I want to mention real quick before we exit this is you can see in Pokemon Blue over here I have a Kadabra. Now I could trade with myself to evolve that Kadabra so I could have it for Pokemon Blue, but I'm not going to be doing that with Pokemon Yellow. So if you're curious about that, you know, not in the plans. So I'm gonna meet you back at the Pokemon Center. Okay, we are out of trading, and we now have our Meowth from Pokemon Blue. Very, very nice. Obviously we're not going to be using it, so it's getting boxed immediately. But other than that, we are ending the episode here. So if you like the video, please hit like. If you really like the video and you want to see more, consider subscribing. And if you dislike the video, then hit dislike. Otherwise, I'll see everyone next time.